She said we should stop being romantic but stay together for comfort. I turned her plan against her. She thought she could keep all the benefits without the love. So I gave her exactly what she wanted: distance, silence, and boundaries, until she finally realized what being alone really feels like. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy someone settled for. I always assumed if love faded, you'd have the decency to leave, or at least let the other person go. Belinda didn't. We'd been together for 3 years. When she lost her job last winter, I didn't hesitate. I told her she could take time to reset. I paid for everything: rent, groceries, her phone bill. I picked up her prescriptions. I listened to her spiral at 2 a.m., and still woke up early to work my 9 to 5. I did all of that because I loved her. And I thought she loved me back. A few weeks ago, she sat me down on the couch and said she wasn't in love with me anymore. Just like that. No warning. No fight. Not even a tear in her eye. Her voice was oddly chipper, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. "I think we should stop being romantic," she said. "But I still want to live together. We work great as roommates." I just stared at her. Roommates? She went on about how emotionally safe our home felt, how we're compatible in every way but one. How this doesn't have to be dramatic. I didn't say much. I nodded. My heart was somewhere under my ribs, crumpling in on itself. It wasn't until 2 nights later that the real betrayal landed. I made the mistake of glancing over her shoulder while she was texting on the couch. Just for a second. I saw the name of her group chat. Belle's Rescue Plan. And a preview of the last message. He totally bought it. No drama. I'll stay until I get back on my feet, smiling face with halo. That emoji felt like a slap. I didn't confront her. I just walked into the kitchen and poured myself a drink. I've always been a logical person. I work in software engineering. I solve problems. And right then, I realized I wasn't in a breakup. I was in a hostage situation. Belinda didn't confess out of bravery. She wasn't being transparent. She was calculating, strategically repositioning herself in my life to keep all the benefits of a relationship without giving me any of the love. I let her talk about boundaries and new dynamics. I nodded through her explanations about emotional burnout and needing space. I agreed to the roommate setup. I even smiled. But something shifted in me that night. Not out of spite, out of survival. If I was just a roommate, then she'd get a roommate. Not a boyfriend. Not a lifeline. Not a savior. I stopped making her coffee in the morning. I no longer folded her laundry when it sat in the dryer. I didn't remind her to take her meds. I turned off the Spotify family plan. I removed her from the Amazon Prime account. Quiet, subtle retraction. And when she asked what I wanted for dinner, I simply said, "Whatever you're cooking for yourself." She blinked. "So we're not doing shared meals anymore?" I looked at her like I would any casual housemate. Didn't think that made sense. She didn't respond. She just walked away. This was the beginning of the unraveling. But unlike her, I wasn't pretending. I really was done. She noticed the shift within days. At first, it was small things, the way I stopped asking if she needed anything when I went out. The way I no longer waited up for her to come home from her late night. Mental health drives. The missing Spotify playlist. The quiet mornings. On her birthday, I gave her exactly what she said she wanted: boundaries. I didn't bake her favorite brownies. I didn't plan a dinner. No flowers. No card. I didn't even remind her it was her birthday. I just went to work, came home, and said, "Hey," when I passed her in the kitchen. She waited. She thought I'd cave by nightfall. Around 10 p.m., she stood at the doorway to my office, arms crossed, wearing that old hoodie I gave her 2 winters ago. "You really didn't plan anything?" she asked. I turned from my screen and raised an eyebrow. "Did you want to plan something? Roommates can hang out if they want to." Her jaw clenched, but she forced a laugh. "Right. Roommates." I watched her retreat, the air around her visibly colder. That was the moment she began to realize she'd made a miscalculation. She'd expected me to grieve, to orbit her with quiet desperation. Instead, I was vanishing from her world piece by piece. Over the next few weeks, I peeled back everything I once gave without question. I stopped picking up her oat milk at the store. I canceled the DoorDash subscription. When she forgot to pay the internet bill, I didn't cover it. I just switched to using my phone hotspot and let the Wi-Fi lapse. She started sighing a lot. Sighing and slamming drawers and making passive-aggressive comments like, "Guess I have to be my own assistant now." I didn't respond. She left dirty dishes in the sink for days. I washed only mine. She ran out of laundry detergent. I didn't offer mine. She got a flat tire and asked if I could help. I told her AAA could. She began orbiting me again, only now it wasn't romantic. It was transactional. She lingered in rooms longer than necessary. Brought up shared memories. Asked if I remembered. "That time we watched that sad movie and you held me for hours." I'd nod and go back to what I was doing. One night, I came home and found her cooking dinner, a full meal. Her eyes lit up when I walked in. "Hey! I made enough for two." I walked past the table, opened the fridge, and pulled out leftovers. "Thanks, but I already had lunch late." Her face fell, but she smiled through it. "Okay, maybe tomorrow." I didn't answer. I wasn't being cruel. I was just giving her what she asked for, a life where I wasn't obligated to care. Her social media posts changed, too. Less about healing, and more about feeling unseen. Her group chat messages got shorter. The emoji disappeared. I overheard a voice message once, her whispering to a friend, "He's so cold now. It's like he disappeared but he's still here." That's exactly how I felt for months. Ghosted in my own relationship. Trapped in a house with someone who used to love me, and now just tolerated me, until she needed something. Now, the roles were reversed. And she hated it. The first real crack came when her phone got shut off. She stormed into the living room, cheeks flushed. "Did the autopay not go through?" I didn't look up from my laptop. "You took over that bill last month. Remember?" She stared at me like I'd just spoken in another language. "I thought you said you'd keep the essentials covered while I job hunt." I shut my laptop slowly. "You said you wanted boundaries. Independence. That includes finances." She blinked rapidly, trying to smile, but her voice shook. "Right, of course. I just forgot." A few days later, her car registration expired. She asked if I could help her. Just this once. Said she'd Venmo me later. I told her I wasn't comfortable fronting money anymore. "It gets messy," I said. "We're not together. I think keeping things clean is best." She didn't say anything. She just walked out, keys in hand, and slammed the door hard enough to rattle the hinges. I expected her to recover. To adapt. But she didn't. She started missing packages because she forgot to update her address on deliveries I used to manage for her. Her phone stayed off half the time. I'd see her muttering in frustration over bounced emails and missed calls. Then one night, I heard her crying. Not loud, performative sobs, the kind that sneak out when you think you're completely alone. I didn't go to her. That was the old version of me. The one who rushed to fix things, soothe emotions, and carry burdens that weren't mine. This version of me stayed quiet. She began to crack under the weight of things she once took for granted. One evening, she knocked on my bedroom door, holding a bag of fast food. "I got your favorite," she said, voice soft. I looked up from my desk. "Thanks, but I'm good." She lingered. "Jake, can we maybe, I don't know, talk?" I leaned back in my chair. "Sure. What about?" She looked startled, like she hadn't thought that far. "Just stuff. Life. Us." "There is no us," I said calmly. "Not anymore. You ended that." "I didn't mean forever." "I know. That was the problem." She sat down on the edge of my bed without asking. "I didn't realize how much you did. For me. For this place. I just thought it would be easier, not emptier." I said nothing. She started visiting friends more often. Staying out late, sometimes coming home at 2 or 3 a.m. One night, she texted me from a friend's house, asking if I could sell her $40 for an Uber because she left her wallet. I didn't reply. The next morning, she came back with a bruised ego and sore feet from a long walk home. She didn't speak to me for 2 days. I think she thought the silent treatment would hurt. It didn't. It felt like peace. A few days later, she sat across from me in the kitchen and said, "I think I made a mistake." I looked up from my cereal. "In general, or in ending things?" she whispered. I stared at her for a long moment. "You didn't make a mistake ending it. You made a mistake thinking I'd stay after." Her eyes welled up, but she said nothing. We were no longer partners. No longer lovers. Barely even roommates. And she was finally starting to feel what I had felt all those months before, alone. I started going out more. Nothing wild, just normal things I hadn't done in years. Trivia nights. Bike rides. Dinner with friends I'd stopped seeing when Belinda lost her job and leaned on me for everything. I didn't tell her where I was going, and I didn't ask where she was. That was the deal. That was what she wanted. Except now she didn't seem so sure. She stopped dressing in her usual oversized sweats and started wearing the kinds of outfits she wore when we first met. Once, I came home from a run and found her sitting on the couch wearing one of my old flannels, her hair done, makeup subtle but noticeable. "Hey," she said casually. "You going out?" "Was out," I replied, brushing past her to grab a bottle of water. "Oh. Cool." She stood there in silence, then added, "I've been thinking a lot." I didn't respond. I think I confused comfort with boredom. I thought our life together was dull, but now I see it was stable. Safe. You gave me that. I didn't know how rare that was. Still, I said nothing. Later that night, I heard her crying again, louder this time. I didn't go to her. She didn't deserve comfort without accountability. Instead, I sent her a text the next morning. "Hey, therapy might be good. Not being mean, I think you need someone to talk to who isn't me." She didn't reply, but I noticed her Googling sliding scale therapists later that day. Around that same time, she tried to reintroduce intimacy, but not in obvious ways. She'd brush against me in the kitchen. Sit too close on the couch. Laugh too loudly at things I barely said. One morning, she waited for me to finish my shower, then walked in as I was shaving. "Forgot my moisturizer," she said, reaching for the cabinet beside me. We locked eyes in the mirror. Nothing was said, but I saw it, the pleading look behind the casual mask. The look that said, "Please notice me. Please miss me." But I didn't. Not anymore. Later that week, she suggested we grab dinner. As friends. I told her I had other plans. "I'm starting to feel like you hate me," she said, folding laundry at the kitchen table. I shook my head. "I don't hate you, Belle. I just don't feel anything anymore." She nodded slowly, like she already knew. "I thought you'd wait for me," she whispered. I gave her a sad smile. "You didn't wait for me either." That night, I sat on our shared balcony alone, thinking about the man I used to be, the one who lit candles on her bad days, made playlists for her commutes, stayed up worrying about her mental health while mine crumbled in silence. That man was gone. In his place was someone stronger. Not colder, just clearer. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to make her suffer. All I needed was out. And that time was coming. The lease renewal notice came in a plain envelope taped to our front door. I saw it before she did. I peeled it off, set it on the counter, and waited. That night, as we passed each other in the hallway, I said, "We need to talk about the lease." She froze mid-step. "Okay. I'm not renewing. I found a new place. I'll be moving out at the end of the month." Her face cracked before she could catch it. "You're moving out?" she repeated. "Just like that?" I gave it a lot of thought. "This living arrangement doesn't work anymore." She stepped into the kitchen, arms crossed, staring at me like I'd just betrayed her. "You're just going to leave me here? Alone?" I gave her a patient look. "Belinda, you chose to end the relationship. You wanted to be roommates. Roommates don't renew leases out of guilt." She blinked hard, her mouth opening slightly, like she couldn't find the words. "But you didn't even talk to me about it," she said quietly. "You just made the decision." I nodded. "Kind of like you did, right?" Silence. Then, her voice rose. "So that's it? You're done? After everything?" That last part almost made me laugh. "After everything?" "Belle," I said calmly, "we're not working. You know it. This has just been comfort. Familiarity. But it's not love. It hasn't been for a long time." She dropped into the kitchen chair like her knees gave out. "I thought maybe we could get back there." "You thought wrong." She tried again a few days later, coming into my room holding her laptop. "Found a new apartment," she said, eyes wide with forced enthusiasm. "But I'd need help with the deposit. Just for the first month." I closed my drawer, looked her in the eye, and said, "That's not my responsibility anymore." Her bottom lip trembled. "Wow," she whispered. You really don't care, do you? I do care, I said. But I'm done saving you. You had every chance to work with me, to fight for us. Instead, you planned your exit like I was a hotel. And now you want back in because it's cold outside. Tears formed in her eyes. It's not like that. I shrugged. That's how it feels. Over the next 2 weeks, the silence grew louder. She stopped trying to talk. Stopped trying to perform sadness. Instead, she packed her things slowly, bitterly. She'd slam drawers, sigh loudly, and play sad music late at night, all the passive-aggressive signs of someone mourning the control they lost. I offered her the number of a moving company. She ignored me. I gave her 3 weeks' notice, offered to transfer utilities cleanly, even left her a typed list of what was mine and what I'd be taking. I treated her with more respect as a former partner than she ever did me. And still, she sulked like I'd betrayed her. The day I moved, she stood at the door and watched me carry the last box. That's it? She asked, arms folded. I turned and nodded. Yeah. That's it. She gave a bitter laugh. Guess I got what I asked for. I smiled politely. Yeah. We both did. And then I walked away, feeling nothing but air in my chest, light, clean, final. She was gone for 3 weeks. No texts. No calls. No social media updates. Not a whisper of her existence. And then, out of nowhere, she showed up at my new apartment. I opened the door expecting a delivery, only to see Belinda standing there in the same oversized hoodie she used to wear around the condo, her eyes glassy, a half-fake smile on her lips. Hey, she said. I didn't move. How did you get this address? You left your mail forwarding confirmation on the counter. I saw it. I stared at her. That's not okay. I know. I needed to talk to you. I sighed and stepped outside, closing the door behind me. You've got 2 minutes. She looked like she might cry right there in the hallway. Jake, I made a mistake. I didn't say anything. I thought I was doing the strong thing by ending things before they got worse. But I wasn't strong. I was scared. I didn't know how to ask for help without feeling like a burden, so I pushed you away before you could leave me. I still said nothing. I thought I could do it on my own. But I miss you. I miss us. Her voice broke on that last word. I studied her face. You miss the comfort. The routine. The backup plan. No, she said quickly. I miss you. Your steadiness. Your kindness. The way you made life feel manageable. I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. Convenient timing. I said. What happened? Lease fall through? Parents getting tired of you? She winced. You only came back after the hard part started. Not once during the good times. That's not love, Belinda. That's desperation. She shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. I've changed. I've started therapy. I've been looking for work. I'm trying. Please, can we just try again? For a moment, I looked at her and remembered the woman I once loved, the late-night giggles, the soft humming while she drew, the way she used to dance barefoot in the kitchen. But then I remembered the silence. The gaslighting. The cold confessions disguised as growth. The way she played roommate while draining me dry. And I felt nothing. You said you weren't in love with me. I said quietly. You made your choice. You don't get to take it back just because you didn't like the consequences. But people make mistakes. They do. I interrupted. And I forgive you for that. I just don't want you back. She opened her mouth again, but I cut her off. I loved you. Fully. Honestly. And you used that love like a safety net. I won't be that for you again. Her face crumpled. I hope you're okay. I really do. But we're done. She stood there in silence. Then she nodded slowly, wiped her face, and walked away. No drama. No screaming. Just a quiet ending, the kind that means it's really over. My new place isn't anything fancy. 1 bedroom, tiny balcony, a coffee shop downstairs that always burns the muffins. But it's mine. Clean, quiet, and filled only with things I choose to bring into it. No one sighs loudly in the next room. No one slams doors to make a point. There's no drama disguised as processing. No unspoken expectations hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Just peace. After that final conversation in the hallway, I blocked Belinda's number. I didn't hate her. I just knew myself well enough to understand that if I left the door open, even a crack, she'd slip back in, and I'd forget how much it cost me to get out. I heard from a mutual friend weeks later that she moved back in with her parents. That the job hunt was slow. That she still cried about me sometimes. I didn't feel joy hearing that. Not revenge. Not satisfaction. I felt nothing. And that's when I knew I was free. I've started dating again, slowly. Carefully. I don't give away my energy as easily now. I pay attention to red flags. I don't romanticize the idea of being needed. Being needed isn't the same as being loved. I also picked up new hobbies. Joined a local film club. Started lifting again. Reconnected with old friends who admitted, gently, that I hadn't seemed like myself the last year of that relationship. I hadn't been. I'd been someone's emotional crutch. Someone's unpaid life manager. Someone who confused patience for love and loyalty for sacrifice. Not anymore. Belinda texted me once, from a new number. Just a simple line. Miss you. I didn't open it. I just blocked the number. It wasn't cruelty. It was closure. She had been a chapter in my life, not the whole story. I look back on everything now and realize how easy it is to become invisible inside a relationship, especially when the other person stops seeing you as a partner and starts seeing you as a resource. A comfort. A landing pad. I allowed that for too long. But I ended it. On my own terms. I don't need dramatic endings anymore. I don't need closure from the people who hurt me. I only need to trust that walking away, truly, fully, is an act of self-respect. And that staying gone is the final gift I give myself.